Girl, I ain't got no business taking this many notes for one episode. Hey girl, hey, let's talk. Okay, so another recap of Black CaKe episode 3, titled Eleanor. So basically they open up the scene where she's in the hospital bed. She's waking up. It's been about a week perhaps since she's been in the accident. And the nurse is talking to her and she's telling her, that they lost 3 people and that Coventina, aka Eleanor, was one of them, and that she didn't have any family or anybody to claim her remains. So they buried her in Scotland in a Jane Doe. The community came together and buried her as a Jane Doe, pretty much. I mean, not really a Jane Doe because she has a name, but you know what I'm saying. She doesn't have anybody to give her a proper burial or proper funeral or anything like that. Oh, but when she woke up in a cold sweat, kind of reflecting on all the things that has happened, because that's a traumatic situation to get into a train accident, all of the past and all of the things from the traumas from your hometown and then the traumas that just occurred. It's just a lot. So the nurse tells her yeah girl, after you leave here, we got you put up in a nice, well, not nice, but in a a little room for you to reside in, and you can we paid you up to a certain time, and then you can come back and or extend. You can extend your stay if you want to. You know what I'm saying? But we set you up because you a nurse girl and we take care of our own people. You know what I'm saying? So Colby's I'm feeling away because I know that Scotland was really Eleanor's dream, and here I am. I have the second chance, and what am I going to do with the second chance that I've been unfortunately bestowed upon me? So Coventina realizes that she's officially dead, and she now has to really become Eleanor. So she's standing in the mirror, repeating the name to herself, Eleanor, just so that she can get used to hearing the name, this is my name, this is my new name, this is my name now, you know what I mean? So the nurse tells her, girl, you cannot go until you can walk to a certain distance, and you need to slow it down because, girl, you are doing way too much in too little time, okay? And so you've been through a lot, blah, 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 all the things. So she's thinking in hindsight of the road ahead of her. Girl, if I had known what I know now, maybe I wouldn't have did this because this is too much, okay? So, all right. And so we go to, she finally makes it out of the hospital. And so she finally walks and everything. And she's in the scene where she's headed up the stairs. And the landlord is giving her pretty much the rundown, what she expects, how she expects her rent, how she expects it every month, and da-da-da-da. And this is where you're going to be staying, blah, blah, blah. And so she has her suitcase, and she's really struggling because, again, she's injured, and she has a leg injury. So she's having a hard time maneuvering. And so the lady's girl, do you need help? Are you okay? And she's like, girl, I got it because I got to, get myself through this because, I got to be a strong black woman. You know what I'm saying? So anyway, so she's brought to a room, and she's telling herself, girl, this is your life. You have to forget about the past. You have to forget about everything that you once was. Forget all of that. That is behind you. You have to become Miss Eleanor, okay? So she sets out to find work. And so she's going on interviews. In the first interview, she asks the interviewer, girl, can you chill out on your accent? Because, girl, I don't understand what you're saying, girl. And the girl was like, girl, I know you goddamn lying because this is how we talk, and if you're going to be working for us, you're going to need to know how everybody talk, because how would I hire you? Honestly, the nerve of somebody to ask you to chill your accent down so they can understand, and you want the job. Anyway, obviously, long story long, she ain't get the job. So she goes on multiple different interviews. Nobody hires her. this is still like, to me, during a time where it's kind of like weird for, people of color anyway. So in Scotland, it's kind of like you also have to factor that part into the story as well. You know what I'm saying? So she's getting rejected left and right. She's not getting these jobs. And she's like, girl, I'm just like, I'm starting to feel away. I'm starting to feel little. I'm starting to feel like I don't matter. Like I could just disappear and it wouldn't even matter to anybody. You know what I mean? And she's also in pain. You know what I'm saying? Because she's still recovering from this huge injury that's occurred, that's happened to her. And then she's like, as she's feeling down and low, she's also reminiscing about her home life, about the life she left behind her. And she's just, getting into a state. And she's reflecting back to when she met Gibbs. And so she met Gibbs at the pool hall where they used to train and practice and everything. And so it was her and Bunny in the water. They were swimming, and they was Covey but glanced over at Gibbs. And Bunny was like, girl, you making eye contact with Gibbs again, girl. Like, girl, he's a new guy, I mean, he all right, but, I don't want to break up the group. So, you could tell that she's attracted to him. He's attracted to her. Covey and Bunny was having a sidebar conversation, and they were also, Covey was teasing Miss Bunny about Jimmy, and that he's like kind of been digging her since they was kids. And she's like, girl, the coach over there, like, she's like, well, yeah, girl, he about to be a coach, and he gonna take real good care of you. He likes you. He really likes you. You should give him a shot. Da 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 da. And so, she's like, girl, he is not my type, okay? And so she's like, girl, you don't even have a type. How you know you got a type? Like, girl, I ain't never seen you with nobody. So how you know what you know, and you don't know what you don't know, okay? And so, Bunny tells her something very, pivotal. You know what I'm saying? She tells her, girl, if he gets fresh with you, don't come running back, because that's all these boys want, is to get a little hanky-panky, girl, to get the little hands up your shirt. And then when they get what they want, they gonna disappear into the night, okay? Fall in love if you want to, but girl, that's pretty much your fate when it comes to these men. And she seems to have she kind of reminds me of myself, because I was not into it when I was coming up. Girl, I didn't want nothing to do with nobody, okay? I just wanted to enjoy my friends and live my little innocent life and have a good time. Like, I was not interested in boys. So I really related to, Bunny in this moment. So Covey is like, girl, she walks up to Gibbs. She's like, girl, so you're not going to introduce yourself to me? And she's introducing herself, even though she's telling him not, like, why aren't you introducing yourself to me? So she's introducing herself, and he's like, oh, yeah, like, your name is Covey Line Cook or whatever. And she was like, girl, if you're going to say my name, say it right, okay? And so he was like, yeah, I've heard about you. You're pretty popular around town because they call you Dolphin Girl. And she is like the best swimmer on the team. Okay, so in the meantime, in this current moment, she's being interviewed with a gentleman, and it's for a janitorial position. And so he's going over her resume. He's like, oh, okay, I see you're a nurse. And he asks her a few more probing questions about her past experience and everything. And in a nutshell, he's like, girl, I can't hire you. Like, you are way too overqualified, and you're in pain right now. And she's like, listen, I need a job. I don't care. I'm just, I'm here to work, da 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 da. And so when he pretty much observes her adjusting in her seat, and she winces, and he could tell that she's in pain. And he's like, listen, I can't hire you, okay? Like, this is too much. I would not have a good conscience knowing that I hired you, knowing that you're in a situation or a state that you're in physically. And so she's like, listen, I don't care. I'll do whatever I can. I just need a job because, time is ticking. And whatever money that was on her rent before, she really needs this job so she can start paying, for herself. And so he's like, nah, girl, like, you are way too, one, you overqualified for the position that you're asking for. Two, you're too injured for the job that you're asking for as well. So it's like, girl, like, chill out. And she was like, you know what? Okay, I understand. She's accepting the decision. And he's like, well, hold up. I ain't finished with you yet. Like, girl, I'm going to hire you. I just ain't hiring you for no janitorial position. I'm going to go ahead and give you an assistant position so you can assist the assistants in the clerk's office. so she's happy and she limps to a new beat and she, goes ahead and goes home and she's like, girl, I'm gonna kill him on the first day of work. So she gets in the office her first day. She's like, hey, y'all, my name is Eleanor, whatever her last name is. And the whole office grew still. They like, girl, go have a seat. Okay. Hello. Have a seat. This is your work. We're not feeling you because we know this position really wasn't real to begin with. And pretty much this is a pity position. And, Miss Beatrice is her name. Clocks it right away. She's like, girl, I am not feeling you. I don't like you, whatever. But, towards the end of the day, they're calling her name Eleanor, girl. She is stuck at the desk doing her work, but she's not recognizing Eleanor as her name. And she's like, girl, do you not hear us calling you? Like, girl, ain't that your name, girl? Like, what? And she's like, oh, girl, I'm just so busy into my books. And so she is like, well, here's the keys. Go ahead and lock up and finish our work and have it done first thing in the morning, okay? Well, they toss her the keys and then they leave. And then we're back on the island. And CaKe and Gibbs are spending more time together. They are at the waterfalls, and they're at the top of the waterfalls, and they take a dive or jump into the water. She asked to jump in again, and so he was like, nah, because I'm taking in this moment. I'm happy. I finally have a moment where I don't feel homesick. And so she's like, well, why did you leave? Girl, I don't even want to say the name of the city because, girl, I be done fumbled and jumbled it all up. So anyway, why did you leave where you left? And he tells her that the family had big company had pretty much bought their property from up under them. And it was really hard because it was his final year in school. And he was really struggling to adjust to his new home, wherever they are now. And so he tells her right then that he plans on leaving to London at the end of his final year, because this is still technically like a year before he leaves for London. And so she's like, well, girl, I want to date you. I like you. I want to be with you. I want you to kiss me. I want all the things, okay? Because I want to be a hot and ass little girl, okay? And I want you to be a part of this. And he was like, girl, hold up. I like you. But he ain't give her no, like, stiff arm. He was just like, okay, I do like you, but I want to get to know you because I like you for you. And she was like, bet, I got it. You, all of the stuff that Manny said, girl, cancel all of that because you actually like me, okay? And so he walks her partially to her home, and, they had to kind of break apart because she didn't want her dad to find out, because dad could not stress any further that he did not want her to date before she turned 18. And at this point, she's like 16 years old. And so as they depart, Bunny catches up with her and she's like, hey girl, where you been? Like, your dad is looking all over for you. And she's like, oh, and she was like, girl, you was with Gibbs. And CaKe was like, I mean, yeah. And so she was like, oh girl, like, I'm over y'all. Like, you are really trying to break up the group. So Bunny, once again, is just not feeling, the whole Gibbs. She does not want this duo to turn into a trio or whatever for is, okay? And so she's like, well, girl, we can invite Jimmy. And Jimmy is the guy that the dad had suggested further down the line. And also the guy that CaKe had noticed liked her, liked Bunny. And she was like, we can do a double date. And she's like, girl, he is not my type. She's like, well, girl, what is your type? And she was like, girl, you. And she was like, girl, wait. You into a little lesbonics? Girl, okay. I mean, I love you in a different way, in my own way. But girl, it is 1950, 60, whatever. And you can't be talking like that, because this ain't the time or the place to be having them kind of feelings. And you're going to have to suppress them feelings, baby, because, baby, it's dangerous out here for women or men who like the same sex at this moment. And so, as the narrator, meaning Eleanor / CaKe, is saying, like, I done told this girl to suppress her feelings and pretty much hide who she is. And now she finds herself in Scotland doing the same exact thing. Even though she was meaning well, she probably should have handled it different. But, we don't know until we know. You know what I'm saying? So, once again, like I said, she assures her that we are best friends for life. I am never, we are always going to be best friends. But, girl, yeah, I don't know what to tell you. So now we back to Scotland. And like I said, she has to do the same thing, suppressing who she is, and has to learn how to become invisible, or learn how to kind of blend in and not, stir up a lot of attention. You know what I'm saying? And so the boss cuts himself, and we're at work. The boss cuts himself, and he's like bleeding a lot. And he's like, Eleanor, come over here, help me out, because he knows that, or assumes that she's a nurse. Girl, she froze like a deer caught in the headlights, okay? She didn't want nothing to do with that blood. That's none of that. So the other girl, Miss Beatrice, was like, girl, I got it, okay? Let me go and help you out, okay? So that's the first time that the boss clocked something's a little off about you, because you just got really squeamish around blood, and you're supposed to be this nurse, and you acted like you couldn't stand the sight of it, which she couldn't. And so even though during the interview she was like, girl, well, being a nurse really wasn't my thing, she still shouldn't be that squeamish at the very sight of blood. Like, at the very least, if you went through the whole program, you should at least be used to that by now. So anyway, he clocked it. Okay, so then Eleanor, aka CaKe, because I keep saying CaKe, but it's CaKe. Anyway, so she brings to Miss Beatrice attention that the books are off, and she's been going over it again. She's like, girl, check it again. She's like, girl, I checked it again. I checked it once, twice, and thrice even, and they off. And she was like, well, girl, I don't respect what you say anyway, because you really don't deserve to be here, because you are a pity hire, okay? The only reason why you got hired is because you was in that train accident, and everybody knows it, and we don't like you or respect you, okay? So she wasn't trying to hear it, and as normal, she's staying late, and it so happens that the boss, because I don't remember his name, the boss, he's also staying late, and she goes into his office. She's like, hey, can I get your attention really quick? Can I have a second? I said, get your attention, but, can I have a moment? And he's like, yeah, what is it? And she's like, well, I really don't want to, rock the boat, stir the pot a little bit, but I'm seeing these books, and they're asking me to check it, and I don't want to get in trouble, and, blase, blah, whoop, whoop, whoop. And so he's like, well, I'll check it out in the morning. So I had to, take care of my son real quick. So yeah, she doesn't want to get or be held responsible for the books being off, and she was told, voluntold to do everybody's work. And so she saw that it was off. Wait. So she was like, well, it's hard doing my job, because, the girls over here feel like I don't deserve to be here. And, I'm just trying to get it how I live it. I'm just happy to be here. I'm just happy to have a job at this point. And so then she starts crying. He's like, wait, hold up. Stop crying. This is weird. But that aside, I know you're not no nurse. Because, girl, who was you trying to fool? You turned your face at the first sight of the blood. And so she's, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. I just, I couldn't, I don't know. I'm desperate. I got desperate. I'm trying to make it out here and da-da-da-da-da-da-da. And he's like, it's all right, baby. It's okay. It's all good. Don't worry about it. I'll take care of you. Matter of fact, don't even, F them hoes. Don't even listen to them cackling hands. I'ma take care of you. Come straight to me if you have any problem. You understand me? And she's like, oh my God, thank you so much. But during this whole scene, it sounds good, right? What they're saying. But in essence, even according to the music selection that's being played, it doesn't sound like he's completely being forthcoming. You know what I'm saying? The next morning, the boss is like, Beatrice, you nappy head, blah, 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 blah. Even though she ain't got no nappy head, she's from Scotland. But I'm just saying, like, girl, he was reading her up and down and through. He done told her every which way but loose and in front of everybody in that office, okay? So she's like, it will never happen again. I thought she was going to get fired, but she didn't get fired. And he's like, listen, I'm having Covey check your books at every turn. And matter of fact, she ain't staying after school. She ain't staying after work. You gonna stay after work and she gonna have dinner with me. And I'm like, okay, that escalated quickly. And she's looking like, yeah, I guess I'm gonna have dinner with the boss. And even though she's gonna have dinner with her boss, she doesn't want to decline, because normally I think she would have just been like, no, thank you, but because he now knows that she has a secret of not being a nurse, she feels like she has to do it. She has to come, to please the boss, because he really could fire her for lying on her application pretty much. And so now we're back to yesteryear on the island, and now the budding young couple are spending more time together, and they are walking through the field. And so now, as they walk through the field, he goes into further detail about how he and his family owned this land, and that the land was bought from up under them. And now, it was a big impact on the family and everything. And he's going to London to become a lawyer because he wants to pretty much fight for the little guy. Like, I don't want what happened to me to happen to my to anybody else, pretty much. And so Coventina's like, girl, like, I know you can do it. And he's like, I know you believe in me. And also, he's talking to her about his family. She's sharing with him about her family life and how her dad was pretty much abandoned by most of the most important people in his life. His family, who left him alone because of who he chose to love. Who he chose to love ended up leaving him because of his love of gambling. And now she's gone. And, just a whole bunch of things that kind of happened that affected her dad. And he becomes drunk. And he pretty much just, a piece of him just gets taken away. And so he's like, your mama left you? That's awful. And she's like, yeah, I was hoping that one day I'll become famous and a famous swimmer, and maybe one day she might surprise me and pop up at one of my, events or meets or whatever. And so he's like, you know what? She tells him and encourages him, I think you're going to be a great lawyer. He's like, I believe that you're going to be a great mother. I was like, hold up. That's what you gotta say. Not, I think you're gonna be a great swimmer. But in perspective, he kind of cleaned it up. He was like, your mom wasn't shit, so you're gonna be a better mom to your children than your mother was to you by leaving you behind like that. So that was really nice and sweet. Really cute little moment. She tells him that he has like a really big heart and that she loves that about him. And he asked, it was really, really kind that he asked her if he could, give her a little kiss. And so it kind of reminded me of a first kiss encounter that I had, because he was really, really, polite and shy about it. And I respected that so much. I was like, oh, that's so cute. Anyway, so she explains that she wishes she could stay in that memory because, girl, like, that is probably when she was her most happiest. And then it just seemed like everything just kind of hits the fan at this point. So now we back here in Scotland, girl, and they having dinner, the boss and the wife. And so the wife is carrying on and carrying on and carrying on about how much she, is so happy that she made it through the train accident. She's kind of like obsessed with this train incident. And also because she's a colored girl, she's trying to pretty much have her like cape on and like, oh, we want to hold a dinner in your honor and we want to celebrate you and this is that and the third. And, our company is opening its doors to more color employees and all of the things and da-da-da-da. Anyway, so she's like, so you want to have a dinner in my honor? She's like, yeah, girl, we're going to invite the newspaper and everything. They're going to take a picture. She was like, well, can we not? So she's like, well, you know what? Let's just have it in essence for everybody. Like, for Eleanor and Coventina and for yourself. Like, we can have it as like a beneficial or like a fundraiser or whatever. And so this whole time she's talking, Miss Covey or Eleanor, she's kind of shrinking into her seat from just complete cringe. And the boss is clocking it. Okay, he's like, okay, why isn't she happy about this? This is supposed to be good for her. So why isn't she, more receptive to the gift that is being given? And so she carries on and everything. So the next morning, the boss confronts Covey again, Eleanor, again, and asks why she's still lying. And he's like, girl, why are you still lying? Like, what are you running from? What are you hiding from me? Because we are not starting off at a good start. Okay. So she was like, girl, let me explain. I was just trying to, I just been going through a lot, girl. I just had all this stuff happening and it's just, please don't fire me, girl. Like, please don't fire me. And so he's like, I ain't gonna fire you, baby. I ain't, I'm your friend, like, And then he proceeds to force himself on her. And that was really uncomfortable to watch. It wasn't too graphic or, but it was just, you feel for that type of situation. And so then it switches again. So as this is happening, she's completely trying to disconnect from the event that's occurring, which while she's being harmed at this moment. And so she kind of relates it to the feeling that she had when she got married the first time to Little Man, and how cringy it was and how uncomfortable and how she kind of had to disassociate her feelings at the time as well. And so she recalls the things that he was saying, and he was like, I can't wait to get you. I got a nice room and I can't wait to get you back there because I'm gonna tell you, ugh. Anyway, so, and also he was like, girl, I seen how you was carrying on through this island, traipsing your little fast ass through the island with Gibbs too. And I'm just gonna let you know, you need to forget about Gibbs, because if you don't forget about Gibbs, I'm gonna go ahead and unalive Gibbs for you, okay? And so it was just a hot mess. So meanwhile, Gibbs is far off in the bushes checking out the whole situation, the wedding and everything. Because they was in love, girl. They was in love, girl. Dangerously in love. And so, then he kind of disappears, and then you can kind of hear the commotion as Little Man is choking or whatever. So anyway, now we're back to Scotland. Eleanor is taking the walk of shame to the bathroom, and Beatrice clocks it. So she goes into the bathroom and she's like, girl, I tried to tell you, girl. I tried to tell you, girl. And I'm like, bitch, what? How you try to tell her? But what she means is, I was trying to be mean to you so you would quit. I wanted you to quit because he is a nasty, degenerate man who likes to single out women in need. And when I lost my husband, or when my husband left me and my child destitute, I needed this job just as much as you needed your job. And he took advantage of that. And because I'm the little person, nobody's going to believe me. They're going to think that it's my fault, that I'm this Jezebel, all the things. And so I was trying to make you as uncomfortable, pretty much. She didn't say all of this, but you know, she's saying it without saying. And she was like, girl, I was trying to be mean to you, but you know, it happens, and I gotta keep my job, because where else am I gonna go? I have to provide for my child, you know? And so, she's like, well, you're just gonna have to forget about everything. Like, you just gonna have to wipe it out of your memory and move on with your life. So she gets back home from work, and she pretty much goes back to where she was the first episode, where little man had kind of, you know, tried to press up on her, and she went upstairs to her room and kind of hid. She kind of hid and pushed the dresser in front of the door, and then she gets to the window and she looks out because there's like a beach nearby. She thinks of Bunny's advice, how she says all men want is that hanky-panky, no moolah, hanky-panky, okay? So she pretty much recalls that moment in time, and then she thinks of her father, how he somewhat in a way warned her about how treacherous this world is. And so she was thinking, like, I wonder how he would respond if we ever were to see each other again. And she says she felt him go into the water as she was headed towards the water. And so she goes into the water, and she just has a scream inside that cold water. And as she's screaming, we go to the island current time, and Pearl is pulling Lynn Cook's drunk ass up out of the damn water. And she's like, girl, what is you doing? Why are you trying to unalive yourself, sweetheart? Like, what is going on? And so she pulls him, and he's like, I don't want to live. I don't know. He didn't really say that. But, you know, and he wants a drink. And she's like, girl, I ain't giving you no drink. Matter of fact, I'm gone, okay? Because you have been running me ragged. I stayed because of my loyalty to Matilda and to try to be a mother figure to your daughter. But you're too damaged. You know what I'm saying? And so she goes on, and she's like, I'm out. Covey's no longer here. Covey's no longer here. I ain't got to be here either. And so she's like, I'm out of here. And so he's just left, you know, sitting, looking crazy. So we see Pearl, the music is playing. It's like some happy music. And she's like, oh, it's a brand new day. I'm going to have a good life. And she looks hopeful, but there's a car following her. And then the headlights come on. And as it kind of pulls up, you can see the two brothers of Little Man in the car. So I guess we're to assume that something has happened to Pearl because of the scene that was set up for us. But also, prior to that, when she was discussing with Lynn Cook, she said that someone by the name of something else, he was being questioned at the police station, and he was a suspect, and they were thinking of apprehending him and charging him. And so, and so for the time being, everybody was off the line. It looked like they was about to wrap it up, but based on how the car was following Pearl, the brothers wasn't having it. The police might be fooled, but they wasn't fooled one bit. And so, because she kind of like catered the party, I suppose. So anyway, that wraps up, and now we see a train going, and girl, Miss Mama is on that train. The first thing smoking about it, that goddamn Scotland, okay? And so she got her keys, her purse, and she went on ahead and gone back to London. And so then she's like, I'm out of here. This is too much. I can't do this. And so she's back in London. She's walking through, and there's like a little protest happening. And so in this protest, you got a crowd of, you know, it's a bunch of people of color in a crowd having a protest. And there she sees her man, honey. She sees her Gibbs, baby. And so Gibbs he got the little megaphone, and he's leading the people on and everything. And she stops dead in her tracks like, oh, there he go, girl. And so I don't know how, but he stops and he zooms in on her too. And they see each other. And so they went on ahead and he stopped what he was doing. She proceeded to cross the street. And as she's crossing the street, you can see like a red truck headed her direction. And then the scene ends. So, yeah, that's what happens. I wrote a lot and I was all over the place. Girl, it is what it is. Like, I wrote 9 pages worth of notes. Girl, I would never do that again, okay? Not for no episode. 1 episode? 9 pages? Anyway. Like and subscribe, girl. How I feel about the episode, it just seemed to be so much importantness happening in this episode. You know what I'm saying? I guess that's why I have so much things that I had written. But, yeah, it's, once again, further expanding her origin story of how she became Eleanor. That poor baby, everything is her dad's fault. You know, everything is her dad's fault. Everything. He is the reason why she's not a famous swimmer. He's the reason why she had to leave her town, her country, her home. He's the reason why they were in all this debt. Like, girl. Oh, child. I hope you liked the video. I'll talk to you later. Bye.